for us it's a great opportunity. So actually we're enjoying this, and we have surprised a lot of people by being around that league table, and we will keep on surprising people.
Jon, thank you very much for having us today. One of the big things that struck us for being here throughout the whole day is the positivity around the place. How important is that for you as a manager to have in the building?
Extremely important. You can see that the togetherness and spirit are excellent within the squad, and it's needed after, should we say, a decade with maybe a little bit cloudy here at Blackburn, and now it's a positive time. And when you need to be successful, you need people, not only players and staff, but everybody who's working within the building to go the same direction. And I think we see that.
Definitely. How do you find the Championship? People call it the hardest league in the world. I'm a Birmingham City fan, I know that. How have you found it personally?
I think it's a brilliant league. It's intense, great clubs, great players, a lot of traditions. In a way, it can be a roller coaster, emotional. You can lose and win every game. We go on the pitch to try to win every game. We will not always be successful in that way, so I think it's a great league.
How do you deal with that as a manager? Because like Saturday you could have a defeat, then Tuesday you're back up again. How do you sort of weather that sort of roller coaster?
We look at the performance. We're not looking at the results in that way. The club is driven regarding the performance. So are we doing all the concrete things, the way we want to play football? I think that's what we are looking at as a club.
How do you reflect on that roller coaster for Blackburn? Obviously the season's with the cup run, obviously pushing for the playoffs. How do you feel it's gone yourself?
I think it's a brilliant season, to be honest. Everybody thought it was a transition season. I think everybody is surprised that we are around the playoffs. They left 12 players went away in the summer. With game time last season, there came 6 new players in the building, and only youngsters. So we are an extremely young team, but very talented in that way. Should we say the first part of the season was really a roller coaster, very inconsistent, which is normal. I'm not surprised that everything is much better after here in 2023, because we had a plan, we followed that plan, and now we're extremely consistent and one of the best performing teams in the league in the last 10-11 games, with a very young squad. We had 2 great cups runs, brilliant runs. We enjoyed that, being giant killers by killing those Premier League clubs away. I think it's been joyful for our fans to get that experience as well. And at this late stage, playing for a playoff, people are talking about, maybe we feel the pressure now. No, we don't feel the pressure. In my opinion, pressure is something else. Pressure is if you are on the way to be relegated, if you have a massive budget, which we don't have here at Blackburn, because then you need to go up, then you're favourite to go up, and then you're probably underperforming. That's pressure. But for us, it's a great opportunity. So actually, we're enjoying this, and we have surprised a lot of people by being around that league table, and we will keep on surprising people.
Just on the cup run, being a fan of a Championship club myself, like sometimes that can go either way, can't it? Because obviously it's huge giant killings and great performances, but then there's such a busy schedule. How did you reflect on that? Is it like those super hype moments and you can, obviously fans are on board, it's great for them, and does that give you momentum throughout the rest of the season?
Now, first of all, you play for the fans. You need to give the fans something back because they pay a hell of a lot of money to watch football. And actually, I'm a little bit old school in that way. Football is pure and it should be for the fans, so we need to give something back. Football is a product in a way, and the community here around Blackburn, football is one of the most important things. And it's not only our club, but in general in England. So we need to try to get a good cup run. We had 2 great cups run, because then you can do something together with the fans. You create a togetherness, which is needed. Without the fans, we will not be successful. So we need to play in a way that the fans get happy, so we can get that joy and we can get the fans behind the team. At the other hand, it's a lot of games with a young squad. So that's also one of the reasons I used the cups also to develop the whole squad. So I used a lot of players this season. First of all, because a lot of my players are not used to play a lot of games. So if they would be playing that many games, they would get injured. So that's also part of development, our plan to become a sustainable Premier League club over time and create value, of course.
You spoke about the togetherness. Do you think from back in your time as a player to now that the togetherness is even more important? I don't know if that's like from social media, but even from a look at my club, when that atmosphere is right, it just feels like it's easier for everyone from the players to you. It's just there's a better atmosphere.
Nah, I think a good atmosphere in your own stadium will give you points during a season. It was like that 10, 20 years ago as well, and that never changed. So that's important to create that togetherness with the fans. Second of all, if you are starting a new project, I would call it a new project. We had an incredible development so far, quite amazing actually in the way we develop as a team. All the credit to all the players in that way. But when you develop over time, you know there will be bumps, especially with young players, because they will make mistakes. But on the other hand, it gives you a joy as a leader to see everybody within the building going to the same direction, and that's togetherness.
You spoke about the plan and being conscious at the very start of the season that it was going to be tricky. Is that because of obviously being known football inside and out, or is that a bit reflection on the Championship as well and the intensity of that?
Now, first of all, money decides a lot in football, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We know that. Yeah, we all know that. And we don't have the biggest budget. And first of all, we have also a very young squad. So there's also to do something with experience as well. So when you start, should we say, a new project, yeah, you know it will take time. You know it will be very inconsistent, which is normal. But you also know you have a plan. And if everybody follow the plan and do all the concrete and right things, over time you become better. It sounds simple. It's not that simple.
No.
It's quite complex, but it sounds simple.
Do you feel like you're ahead of that plan going into? Is it hard to balance? Because if you're ahead of the plan going into the playoff now, the season could, if you miss out on those, maybe look a little bit disappointing. But from where you were at the start of the season, it's a huge positive.
Yeah, I think we should look at that first of all. It's been a great season, and now we have an opportunity to make it a really remarkable and an unforgettable season with all the cups and the opportunity to go for the playoffs. And we will do everything trying to get that playoff spot for the club and for the fans, because, as I said, I think the fans have had a very, very tough time here. A decade with a bit of a shadow, should we say it in that way. And now the future looks bright, but you don't change everything overnight.
The running's big. Obviously, there's some derbies in there as well, and you're playing teams in and around you. How do you reflect on that going into this final stage of the season?
I think it's exciting. I think it's brilliant. Football is about passion, and you get all the passion in the world. I'm 100% sure there will be bumps on the road for us, like there will be bumps for the rest of the team in the league around us. That's football, isn't it? Because it gets more important. At the other hand, I think it's a great opportunity, which we should enjoy. It gives me a lot of energy. It gives my players a lot of energy, and it should also give them a lot of confidence.
The derby against Burnley, I was speaking to some of the players. I think if you're outside of this area, sometimes it's not seen as one of the biggest rivalries, but when you watch it and you're in it, it is one of the biggest. How much did you know of it going in, and how much do you know now about that rivalry?
You know, rivalry is always something to do with tradition and past. And I think it's great because we should always remember all the tradition. We should always remember the legends of football, because that's the way football is. And it's massive, it's big. I tried a couple of, as a player, big ones, for example, Feyenoord, Ajax, Milan against Inter, quite big ones as well. But this is enjoyable, and it's really important for the fans as well.
Just finally, on the mix and blend of the squad, obviously so many youngsters coming through. How proud are you of that, and how promising is it for not just this season, but going into the future for the club?
Now, first of all, credit to our academy, because this season 6 players got the first start, which is a high amount of players, so the future looks quite bright. And we need to develop those players, and they need to invest in themselves on a daily basis. They need to get the maximum out of themselves every day to become better. And of course, we will guide those players, but it looks bright, the future.
And just finally, I mean, he was watching me just hit the ceiling around here, but Ben Brereton Diaz, fantastic striker. Just some words on him and how much he brings to the squad.
Now, we all know that Ben is a goal scorer. He's a team player. He's a good lad. And of course, there's been a lot of speculation regarding his future, but he's kept his head in the right place, and I've always been thinking about Rovers, which is important. He's a good boy, and you probably hit the roof, the ceiling.
Yeah.
He hit the goal probably.
Yeah, I think so. Well, on that note, I don't want to break any more, so good luck for the rest of the season, and thank you for your time.
You're more than welcome.